all my life there's been like this tangible war between, I guess, between your dreams, like choosing the things that you love over practicality or like what makes sense. And I think that there's, I don't know, I just think that it's interesting because when you're young, like, not as much is expected of you. You're not expected to have things figured out. You're expected to be more spontaneous, and it's accepted, kind of just as, like, something that it's like a growing pain, I guess, seen by most people. But I think it's also, like, the freedom to do that and to just be young is such an important part of, like, just growth and becoming who you are, like being able to have those experiences. And it's just like the older you get, the more is expected of you, and the less you're actually able to follow the things that you really love, and the more you're looked down on if you do choose those things over things that the world would view as like practical. And I don't know, it's frustrating. I feel like I'm always at war between having this like very strong sense that the world, like, life is short and we need to take risks because we don't know what's going to happen, and there are no guarantees, and so like tell that person that you love them. Like, don't let fear hold you back. Don't let other people's opinions of what you want to do with your life hold you back from actually doing it, because in the end, life is so short and it's just like dust in the wind. And what is more important than living a life full of experiences, the experiences that you were kind of like created to be inspired by, and experiencing those things with people next to, like, beside you that you love, you know? I don't think that there's anything more important than that in the world. Like, I can't think of any other reason or way that I would want to live, but yet I am, you know, like, I am living a different way than that. It's just weird, and it's like one of those things that the world keeps on, like, trying to pull you back from actually chasing what you really want. I don't really understand why. Like, I don't really understand why the world is like that. Like, I guess we're so obsessed with practicality, and like rules and stability that we don't know when to draw the line, and we think that like we have this notion that we all need to grow up and be something that actually matters, something that actually quote unquote matters, in the eyes of society, and you know. But I don't know, I think about the things that make life worth living, and it's not the things that I can buy with money that a good job would give me. It's like, it's art, and it's love and relationships, and I don't know. But yet we have this obsession with fulfilling this standard or whatever that's placed around us from such a young age, and we grow up knowing that it's there, and we grow up knowing that it's coming, and we grow up feeling the weight of it almost on us a little bit more every day as we're like expected to be getting our shit together a little bit more. And then, you know, we turn 18 and it's like, oh fuck, like now I actually really do have to somewhat get my shit together. I'm an adult, whatever the hell that means. I don't know. Like, maybe the world would see it as completely, well, they would. Most of the world would see it as entirely impractical if I just decided, like I've been thinking about, to just go to Europe and to just, like, spend my life, like, loving God and getting to know Him better and getting to know people better and just, like, doing art and being somewhere beautiful that inspires me, surrounded by people that inspire me, like, focused on something that inspires me, and it seems idealistic. I mean, and I guess in a way it is, because not everybody even has the opportunity to make those decisions. Like, you know, there's poverty and there's people that have they don't really have any opportunities to do what they actually love, but like, I don't know. Well, then why not do something that you love that ties into helping someone who doesn't have the ability to choose to do what they love? I don't know if that makes sense, but like, if you love art, then do art for an organization that raises money for other people, like for homeless people who love art, or like, I don't know, children from poorer countries who you could sponsor to go to school and do what they love doing. It's just, I mean, maybe this is a narrow-minded way of thinking about it because of North American culture, but yeah, maybe I really don't have anything to even think about or complain about, but talking about how much like expectation is placed on us considering what's placed on people in different parts of the world. But it's just like, life is so short to not enjoy it and to not take risks and find out how people actually feel about you, and like, you know, just to do what you want and do what you feel in your heart is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, life is too short, and I don't know. I hate that it takes tragedy often to remind us of this point. Like, I've been working for my dad's company, Solaris, in the new Calgary office that they're just opening up, and it's just Bill and I working in there, and I've known him for a long time because I used to work with him at Insights. But like last year, they found out that their daughter Natasha is dying from an incurable brain tumor, and she's just like, well, part of my job, even working with him, is just lightening his load because he's got a lot on his mind in his personal life, obviously. And then also things need to be in order so that when he needs to take time off, which will happen, things are together. But it's just so sad. It's so sad. Like, the other day he came back in from a telephone call and was like kind of crying and said that they were just like thinking about putting her, or dealing with now, figuring out putting her in palliative care. And it's just like an 11-year-old like girl with so much to offer the world, but she's dying at 11. And I mean, I like to think that when I was young I was free and I made crazy decisions that I didn't really hold much back. I was spontaneous and I followed my urges, and I like chased my passions, and I told people how I felt, and I pursued things that I wanted. But also, I think you think that you have all the time in the world when you're young too. So sometimes you don't do things because you're like, I want that, but I'm scared and I probably can't get it. It's probably not attainable because I'm too young. I just hate these roles and labels that we have from the time we're born. I wish there was a way to break them, because I mean, she's only 11, but I bet if I asked her, would you have done anything different in your life? Like, would you have lived differently? She would have said yes, because obviously, I mean, knowing that you only have a set amount of time changes things. And really, we know from the day that we're born that we only have a set amount of time, that like the most that we're going to have is maybe a century, and that's being generous. But it just seems like it's so far away that we don't consider it, you know, until it's too late, and then we have regrets, and we wish that, I mean, people have regrets early on in their life. That's why they have midlife crises, and I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to have that. And I wish that from the time kids were young, instead of being terrified of growing up because of all the responsibilities and feeling like crushed more and more every day under the weight of those bearing down on them, I just wish that we would instill the importance of doing what you really love and being open and vulnerable and like loving people and caring about people and being compassionate and like being creative and really listening to your heart and being like, what am I passionate about? And feeling the freedom to pursue it, whether or not it's necessarily considered, you know, like conventional or appropriate, I guess. I just wonder how different people would live and how many less regrets that we would have if we did things that way. And yeah, I mean, at my age, it's hard because you're in the thick of it. Like, I'm in my late 80s. I'm 28. I'm in my late 20s, and I don't know. Like, your 20s are kind of a gong show. It's kind of like you're getting pushed into that like truly adult stage, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? And you're trying to like stay where you are for as long as you can before you get pushed because it's terrifying. But I think things start to fall into place too because you have to really decide what you're going to pursue, and you actually have the freedom to pursue what you want to pursue instead of being under guardianship. Yeah, it's just your independence. And I don't know, recently I've just had no time for anything but like complete genuine relationships, like telling people exactly how I feel. And it's been weighing on my mind, this whole idea of doing things that you feel called to and that you want to do despite how people might view that decision. I don't know, but it's affected all the major parts of my life and the major decisions that I've been making lately, like when it comes to my relationship with Reese and being open with him about how I feel despite being fucking terrified that he doesn't feel the same way. And then when it comes to me deciding my future, like dropping out of the journalism program and deciding to pursue English, like creative writing, and thinking about going to Europe, and just, yeah, it's just, it infiltrates every part of your life once you start thinking about making decisions a certain way. But it's also so hard to pull away from the way that we've always been taught to make decisions. And I think especially when you have parents who are very, like, left brain, very, like, reasonable, I guess, is not really the right word, but, you know, like, view things from a very logical and analytical standpoint and, like, what makes sense, and, yeah. I don't know. But then there's this whole other part to humanity that's just like this fiery, passionate soul longing to do what it's created to do, or what it feels like it was created to do, of being like forced through a peg that it doesn't fit in. Its entire life being told that it's irresponsible and needs to grow up, and is, you know, they grow up thinking that they're a failure because they aren't naturally what, like, this personality type that the world views as more valuable. And I don't know, there's just something so fundamentally wrong about that idea to me. I get it, but I don't know how to change it. I don't know how to deal with it, and I don't want my kids growing up that way. And I don't want to be in a relationship with someone that thinks that way. I don't know. It's just been on my mind a lot lately, and that was my mini vent, to which there is no closure whatsoever because such is life, but we'll see. We'll see where I end up because there's a strong chance that like next year I'll be in southern France doing exactly what I just said I wish I could do. So I guess when you think of things that way, you never know, but it always feels like it has to be one or the other too. Like, it doesn't feel like you can find a balance entirely. You're always like doing one thing as a means to being able to do another. But maybe I'm just thinking too much, and maybe I'm just in one of those weird introspective moods, and maybe I am just exhausted because it's Friday, but these are the things that are on my mind, and yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.